sectors. The panelists represented different sectors in Maine's economy, from university, hospitality, construction, and industry, and as well as housing. And as I listened to the whole thing, I took tons of notes. I loved it, but then I asked ChatGPT to narrow it down to some main points for me. And then I said, please turn it into a quiz. So you can play along. You can come off mute if you'd like and just shout out the answers. There's going to be 7 questions and there are multiple guesses. So here's the first one. What is a major factor influencing economic uncertainty in 2025?
B.
Shout it out.
B.
B.
Yes, changing policies within the new White House administration. The business community in surveys from Maine Biz and from the state economy show that people are concerned about uncertainty because they don't know how the policies will affect the future, particularly around immigration and tariffs. Question number 2, inflation is currently
C.
correct, coming down, but still at risk of rising again. And in fact, in January, since this presentation, it did go up slightly. So, I think people, she said, when a Republican is elected, the general sentiment starts to be that the economy will improve, whether not that's related to what actually happens. But that was why they talked about the trend there. Interest rates are expected to do what?
Well, we would hope it'd be D.
Okay, let's go by what we hope then.
Yeah, I'm gonna say C. Yeah.
Let's do magic economics. They're talking about potentially for seeing a few cuts, and she said not giant ones. So that's the kind of thing that developers in particular are watching. Is it going to be less expensive to build or not? And the theme again of uncertainty remains. Number 4, one of the biggest challenges for housing in Maine is what?
B.
That's right. They are, because various factors, I think some corrections have been happening and more housing is being built. So there's some stabilizing going on. But I think the number is still 80,000 more units needed by
2030.
2030. Thank you.
Yeah.
So build, baby, build could be our new motto.
Did they say anything about the rural areas in the housing piece of that, or just was?
Yes, they did. Let me think if I can remember any of those great visuals they had. Go ahead. Can you say? Did you have some?
Oh, well, I mean, the rural areas are lacking because they can't really get any developers in those areas to build. So the southern states, or the southern portion of the state, gets all the new housing, which in retrospect, that's where the majority of people want to live versus the rural areas. But yeah.
Well, let's get to that point in the second part of the presentation too. Where do people want to live and what can we do about it?
Mhm.
Why is migration crucial to Maine's economy?
B.
That's right. It helps to maintain and grow the labor force. I like how they put this question together for me. Migration might be crucial for lots of reasons, but in terms of the economy, it helps maintain and grow the labor force. And in general, migrants are younger than Maine's population. And well, I don't want to give away the answer to the next question, but younger workers have a higher percentage in the workforce. What is a major factor limiting labor force participation in Maine?
C.
That's right. We have an
C.
aging population. And just with that, people are working longer in their lives. But as you can imagine, happily, as people age, they are not in the workforce as much. And we have, an old state statistically. And so what we can do to retain younger workers and attract younger workers is really key. The people in the industrial sector who were speaking were particularly adamant about that. And regarding consumer sentiment, in Maine, it is
A?
oh my God, we are so smart. Everybody got everything right
That's what I
except for
was
the
thinking.
purposeful wrong one. Yep, it's sentiment, at least as of this presentation at the end of January, consumer sentiment is rising. But again, a theme of all of the topics they were talking about was uncertainty. And I think people have seen so many changes, even since this presentation, federal government departments, completely shut down. Um, Potential of people not having access to food programs, some kind of severely different things happening, which will be related to uncertainty. So I said to okay, next into ChatGPT, I wrote all of the thoughts that I'd had during the presentation that had to do with Main Street, like what can Main Street do about this. And I typed that into ChatGPT and I said, narrow that down to a few. And then I said, turn it into a mnemonic. I had to look up how to spell mnemonic, but I knew it's when you take the first word of each answer and make it spell something, and in 1.5 seconds, ChatGPT figured out home base. So that's what Main Street does best. And I'm going to tell you the 8 things that ChatGPT and I came up with.
I just have to say, Delilah is not only giving us great information about this presentation through Maine Biz, but hey, we're all really seeing how she uses Chat GPT.
this, this whole thing took me 30 minutes to take my notes, translate it to these 2 things, and put it onto a beautiful Canva thingy.
Great use of that tool.
So obviously everybody knows housing needs, but what can we as Main Streets do? Learn more about that booms tracker and use that. Advocate for the missing middle if your city or town isn't having housing workshops, it ought to be. And here's a place you can talk about that place where it's not necessarily funded by developers who are making a lot of money from luxury apartments or developers who are doing the affordable housing with all the tax credits. There's a spot in the middle for new residents and workforce retention that aren't being met by what is being built right now. Opportunities for business growth. Apparently large businesses who used to have office workers in large numbers are now looking for smaller spaces. So if they used to have 1,000 people, now maybe they're looking for 200 people spaces or that kind of proportions. And what they want is higher end offices with more amenities and better parking. Migration matters, if for no other reason, talking about the importance to the labor force participation and Maine's aging population. They are filling so many gaps in Maine and can do that more. And also, I guess all of the issues associated with that Main Streets can help with in terms of how we show people matter and are included, and we can highlight them make our Janes Walk tours, celebrating the history and cultures of everybody in our community helps make it kind of a safer environment along with that migration. Because of all that uncertainty, all those themes we were hearing about uncertainty throughout, we can play a big role in our training for business owners and entrepreneurs around adaptability, creative problem solving. We're doing some trainings on design thinking, which I think is like this constant process for learning, getting feedback and trying things and failing quickly if needed, but then trying again. Something that I think most of us love to do the most, with all of the pieces there and being able to draw and retain younger people, we need to really keep focusing on belonging, place keeping. That helps us retain talent and more attractive to workers and families. So, I think when we talk about our entrepreneurial ecosystem, building this role that we play is just key for the economy. I think they were looking for something that started with A, so just kind of reiterating that we can advocate for policies around small businesses, housing development, and workforce needs. The folks in industry and the university both talked about the importance of skills development, and as probably the place that draws the most volunteers in our towns and cities, utilizing volunteerism for building soft skills for the workforce. And experience linked tourism, great for drawing visitors who stay longer, and that helps the economy and also our vibrant downtowns. And I don't think I have a closing slide, so that's the end. I will stop sharing.
That's amazing.
Thanks.
Questions?
Any surprises in that?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, not
Yeah,
surprises.
Amanda.
I just
Sorry.
want to say I've been avoiding ChatGPT with all of my heart and soul, and I absolutely hate the concept and theory of it, but I have been dragged into the quicksand and I used it this week and I'm mad about it. And, you guys probably know me more as being mad more frequently than not mad. So just add this to the list of shit that I'm pissed about, that I'm really nervous. I'm really nervous using this technology. And it's been annoyingly helpful. And I'll let you know when I stop being mad about it, but I'm both mad and using it.
Right on. Might be a good attitude for us to keep so that we could watch when it's going too far.
Just as a reminder, Delilah reached out to MDC to say, hey, I want to attend this training. Would MDC cover my registration? And we always budget for a small amount of scholarship money. It's not for the national conference. I know that's painful. It's for things kind of like outside of what we normally do. And so we were like, yeah, absolutely. We pay for your training and you got to share what you learn. That's kind of the rule. So that's just a reminder for you all that you have that opportunity. If there's something that you want to attend, we can kind of agree on either covering the full fee or a partial fee. Christina, I know, has used it. Amy, you might have used it once. Anyway, every year we budget a tiny bit. Delilah.
Could I do just a 60-second demo of ChatGPT, like that short, just so Tamara said she hasn't used it yet, and just
Please,
so like
show us.
people who haven't seen it can see it.
Yeah.
And yes, I can share my slides. There's a question there. Like I'm going to, I hate when everything's in your way when you're trying to click on something. There you go. ChatGPT, write me a business plan about an arts incubator in Biddeford's downtown, no more than 500 words.
Just hypothetically speaking, right?
Yeah.
She's not giving anything away, is she?
Right.
Sneak peek.
You're watching this come out here.
Mhm.
So I'm doing it in the 60-second version. I'll stop this in a second, but just to show none of this might be what ends up in your final plan or document or anything, but it just shows you, oh, okay, yeah, I got to think about the programs and services. Great. Target audience, good point. Okay, those aren't the ones that I'm thinking of, but that's helpful to know. Revenue model. Oh yeah, I haven't written that out yet, etc. Marketing and outreach. So just kind of like, that's just one example of how quick it is to help you at least get a frame on something.
And I'd love to shout out AI as a great partner in helping with grant applications. I've won a six-figure grant application mostly using AI to write it. I think the one hesitation that we should all have though is the information in which we feed it, knowing that we don't want to be sharing confidential information with robots. But yeah, amazing tool if you're not using it yet.
And I will say just to be the skeptic a little bit, my sister is a professor, art history professor, and professors are having to pay attention to papers that are created with AI. And
Yeah.
you've got to get your own voice in there somewhere because they see papers that look the same.
There's
because
also
of
a program that
I'll
they can
also
run it
add-
through.
Sorry.
They can run it through and see if it's been generated by AI. Yeah.
You should also always proofread because AI is not perfect. I had to grade some papers and I'm like, And it would be like, and compare the second option, which you did not enter. So there is nothing.
And what does the AI, when college students, high school students are using AI to write papers, what does that do to their critical thinking process? It eliminates it because somebody else is thinking for them.
Hence Amanda's rage. Appropriately so. Well, I'm going to stop our recording there.